Kyle.
For the most unconventional president, I chose the only man, William Henry Harrison, the man, the myth, the guy that died 32 days into his presidency, the legend. He's handsome. He was born in Virginia on February 9th, 1773. He was the 9th president elected in 1841, oldest president to take office and the first president to die in office. Known for having the longest inaugural address with the coldest weather.
He didn't give it up.
Inaugural address is the day you become president.
William Henry Harrison was known for trying to get rid of reservations during his 32 days of his presidency. The Democratic Party was completely savage, saying Harrison would be better off retiring in his log cabin drinking hard cider than being president. It wouldn't be the first time Harrison did this. Harrison fired back by making hard cider in the log cabin his campaign symbol. Dear time after being elected, he died on the 32nd day of his presidency, probably from the cold inaugural address he delivered for 2 hours. This is probably the most unconventional thing to ever happen in America, besides the Donald Trump and Hillary election. I'm excited.
Questions for President Harrison?
Can you zoom up that SpongeBob meme?
Yeah.
What's a mistress?
It's your lady on the side that your real one doesn't know about.
Side hoe.
Yeah.
Raza, what do you know?
Oh, nothing about side hoes.
Nothing about women.
Oh!
Ouch.
Oh, that hurt so much.
Is there a connection between his long speech and cold weather and his early death?
Yeah, because I guess he got, what is it called? Pneumonia. Supposedly.
Plant some potatoes.
That was a good one, William.
Any other questions for President Harrison? Do you like how he owned those insults when they said go back to your cabin and drink hard cider, and then he made those the symbol of his presidency? Isn't that pretty awesome?
Savage.
Sounds like Andrew Jackson, right? Ah, you're stubborn as an ass. And then he makes a symbol of donkey, and like, no, that's the mascot of the Democratic Party.
All Democrats are known as asses.
Rosa, you already said that like 4 times. Like every time
It's funny every time.
I mean, it is.
Okay. Let's give President Harrison 2. Ready?
Filming for 32, actually.
1 for each hour his inaugural address lasted.
Who's next?
Good boy.
Sarah Bear.
Mr. Hatcher's next.
Wait, wasn't William what?
Henry Harrison. Shortest tenure as president. A weird anomaly happened too when he died. We had 3 different presidents. Ms. Comer. We had 3 different presidents in the same calendar year. Do you see how that happens?
Yeah.
When a president gets inaugurated, someone else was president for the first part of the year, then they came in, then they died 32 days later, and their vice president was the 3rd president in the same year. I believe that's happened 3 times in American history. Okay, Richard Nixon is your next nominee for most unconventional.
Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Most unconventional president by yours truly, your boy, Lucas Van Hatch. Richard Nixon was the 37th president of the United States of America. He was a self-proclaimed Republican. He was married to a woman that was a year older than him. Props. They're both dead now. He served 1.5 terms. He resigned in 1974. This is from the hit show Futurama. If anybody's a fan.
I got your reference.
Oh, there it is. I just put that in there for comic relief. Anyways, was he the most unconventional president? I think yes. He was the only president to ever resign from his presidency. A Secret Service agent once saw Nixon taste one of his dog biscuits.
Do you have a source on that one?
Absolutely.
I'd like to see it afterwards.
We're excited. Nixon refused to shake hands with anybody from San Francisco.
Why?
Nixon.
Nixon.
Nixon claimed to never have had a headache in his entire life. I find that hard to believe. Seems extremely unconventional. He was the first president to visit all 50 states. Now that's unconventional. No president before Nixon had ever had the time to travel to every state. Impressive.
Wait, what about George Washington? Again, he went through all 13.
Nope, he didn't. Nixon is the first to do it while in office.
Shut down.
What's
Yeah.
happening to my computer?
That's just a little welcome home gig for Richard Nixon. And that's why we're excited.
Next.
Any questions for Richard Nixon?
Why is Richard also known as Dick?
I'll tell you at the 2-minute warning if you want to know that story. Do you know
Did you tell us
why
now?
people named Richard are called Dick?
Tell us
I do.
now.
I'll
Yeah,
tell you at
tell
the
us.
2-minute warning.
Why?
I don't want you two to
Forget.
hear me.
Why not? Oh.
Can you do it after this last
When the Google thing beeps, you remind me to give you the talk about Richard being called Dick.
Can I go now? Thing beeps.
We gotta ask questions.
No, I have a question. Yes, Mr. McCoke.
Do you find it unconventional that he was Eisenhower's vice president for 8 years, ran in 1960 against JFK, got beat, and then basically retired from politics altogether, and then returned to get elected twice? One time, 1972, the biggest landslide election, I think, in modern American history. Is that unconventional to, like, lose, retire, and then come back and win one of the biggest landslides ever?
That's what one of mine went to war twice and retired after both times and then went back to be president.
Your presentation's over, buddy.
Shut up.
You can't really
Don't say it.
Shut up, hippie.
You shut up, hippie.
Why
Yes.
do you call him Nippy?
William Henry Harrison was not a hippie.
Yeah,
Is that-
hippie.
Do you? I'm just being serious.
That
Do you
is-
know what?
That is pretty unconventional of a president to do that. To be running around the political game only to come back and become president of the United States
Twice.
twice. Then to quit from it. That's impressively unconventional. Any more questions?
Okay. Thank you, President Nixon. Let's give him 2. Ready? 1 for each turn. Now, Ms. Comer, it is your turn.
So it's, if you know, K-O.
Wouldn't we have had to do 1.5 then?
AYLD.
I said elected to, not served out in their entirety.
No, you didn't say anything.
Who did you share it with?
You lied.
Me?
It's under Rachel's PowerPoint. I just added on.
Take it.
Oh, how do you
How
use it?
unconventional of you.
I don't know. Utilizing my resources.
Battery cover back.
Do you know what slide it starts on?
The one that says, Warren G. Harding.
Come here, Rachel.
Down right there, yep.
Okay. Is this our last one, or do wait, party? Yeah. Okay. Here's your 4th nominee for most unconventional president of all time.
Which way? This one? Alright, so just a little background. He was born on November 2nd, and whenever he was elected or whatever, that's the same day, different year, but same day he was elected president, you know. Just like told he was going to be president, like he was told he was going to be president on
That
November
was the
2nd.
election
So
day?
that wasn't his year, but that's his birthday, but it was the same day.
On November 2nd.
Yeah, so November 2nd, whatever, I forget what year it was, he was told he was going to be president.
Like, hey, you won the election.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
So he died in office after 2 years. That's kind of sad. He was Republican. He was the 29th president. Okay, so this man was very
Unconventional.
disgusting. So he was the first proven like affair to have had like Thomas Jefferson was before him, but there wasn't technology and like they're still looking at DNA and stuff from this guy's affairs, like a couple affairs he had with different people. So the one that he's really coming for, her name was Carrie Phillips. They grew really close because their families were friends, like they were family friends with each other. So like her wife, or Warren's wife, and Mrs. Phillips, like were friends and stuff. And even though they had separate families, they were still friends. The family, well, I guess Carrie and Warren decided that, let's take our families to Europe together so we can get it on there. So they had affairs while their families were touring Europe together.
Jesus.
Because I guess the Phillips were from Europe. So then, even though they still had different wives and husbands, they were still like banging during their trip. And then this wasn't the first time that Warren's wife knew about his affair, so she said she was feeling betrayed, and she said this is not the first time he entered an affair with a woman she considered a friend, and he had a love child with their mistress named Britain, and that's not even the lady that he had an ongoing affair with, so he was like affairing other women too, I guess, is that the right word? He wrote, so the Phillips moved back to Europe because people were starting to like find out about Warren's affair, and he didn't want it to affect his chances of becoming president. So they moved back, and he wrote like hundreds of love letters while she lived in Europe, and like he was, instead of using penis, he decided to call it Jerry in case people like found out and read the letter. So why would you want a president who named his penis Jerry? Thank you.
What's a better name?
Penis. Just call it what it is.
Richard. Nixon.
Hey, what's this president's name?
Warren G. Harding.
Yeah, okay.
But the affairs happened all those years.
No, I was like, while he was getting like his stuff from my dear,
So as soon as these guys send me the link, you're going to have 4 options. You cannot vote for your own